Good morning. Welcome to the Salary Board meeting for August 3rd. I don't see any names for public comment, so we'll move right into the agenda. Oh, the minutes, actually. Minutes for July 6th, 2022. Are there any corrections or questions about the minutes? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, Salary Board actions. We'll start with the courts. Judge Bateman here. Oh, yes.
Billy Barnes has to get to a meeting at 10. Could she potentially go?
No, if that's okay with the
If that's
judge.
all right? Is that all right?
So we'll let Billy
Okay.
Barnes go first?
Yeah, she's got a 10 o'clock meeting with the Workforce
Oh,
Development Board
I
meeting.
actually know that because she's sitting in for me.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Sorry
you for
about that.
having me. Good morning. My name is Billy Barnes. I'm the Director of Workforce and Economic Development. And this morning, we have two positions that we are requesting Salary Board action approval for. Both positions are 100% grant funded. The first action item job title is Grant Manager. To better meet the needs of our department, WED is requesting the approval of a change from the Youth Program Manager position to Grants Manager. Over the past couple of years, we've received such an influx of adult funding and formula funding that hasn't necessarily been specific to youth grants. And our youth grant manager has been providing oversight for adult dislocated worker and all of our formula funds. So we would like to be able to appropriately compensate our youth manager. We want to streamline all of our grant funding, and so we created this position of grants manager. It will streamline our process, but also compensate that former youth program manager for all of the increased responsibilities and functions. The second item action is for our administrative position. This position has evolved from what initially we thought was going to be simply a clerical position to now providing technical assistance to our vendors and our providers, processing payroll, and other responsibilities. We would like to change that position from a non-exempt position to exempt. And I am happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions for Ms. Barnes regarding items 9, 10, 11, 12?
I have a question.
Sure.
Good morning. With regards to the grant manager position, because it's such a significant raise, I understand that it's additional responsibility. However, my biggest concern is it's my understanding, that's okay. It's my understanding that WED still owes the county approximately $500,000. And so that's my concern.
Now, when you say we owe the county $500,000, you mean reimbursement for invoicing?
Yes.
Okay, so that is just time,
Right.
process, getting those invoices through. So it's not a matter of we don't have the money to pay those invoices, it's just moving those invoices through. It's taken some time due to a lot of different reasons for us to process those invoices.
Right, and I do know it was significantly more. I think it was around 800,000 or some, maybe it was even a little higher. And I know that your department's been chipping away with that, but my concern is that it might be a little premature to give such a significant raise when, the money coming into the county is so delayed.
Again, I could see that being a problem if it was an issue with the money not being there, that we couldn't compensate both the county and this position, but that isn't the issue. The issue is processing those invoices. It's been delayed since the very transition to the county with getting invoices through for various reasons. For example, when we submit an invoice, we think that we have proper documentation and backup, but it gets to the controller's office and there are all different sorts of issues on processing those payments. So then we have to go back to the vendor. Oftentimes we may, we had a meeting about this.
I do.
Oftentimes we may need to even change agreements based on what we thought was going to be approved, but then ultimately it isn't approved. So.
But the original, the money that's owed to the county is not since, that's when, that's from payments before WED came into the county, wasn't it?
I don't believe that's the case.
Okay.
No, I don't believe that's the case.
I thought that WED, it was my understanding that WED was negatively impacted before the county assumed WED.
So now that's a different conversation.
Okay.
But I could explain that quickly, because that is a long conversation. But prior to transitioning to the county, workforce was about $1.2 million in debt to our vendors, right? We went to Labor and Industry. Labor and Industry gave us the money to pay all of those bills, right? Since transitioning into the county, the delays have simply been our agreements versus what is acceptable for the controller's office. So it's just processing invoices that's been slow and has basically halted us getting invoices out the door in 30 days.
Okay, I would like to just correct something. It's not that the controller's office is halting payment. It's the controller's office is not approving payment because it's not what was approved for in the contract. So that's been the holdup in the controller's office. So what was, what may be WED's understanding of what should be reimbursed is not what was approved for.
So may I
So
make a recommendation?
the controller's office just when you say the controller's office is holding stuff up, controller's office manages what is legal and what's not legal, essentially. And so that's what the controller's office job is to do.
So let me make a recommendation. Based on that $800,000 number that you mentioned.
I think it's down to 500 today. I think it's down to 500,000 today.
Based on that 500,000 that you mentioned, if you would like to table the grants manager position, and then maybe internally we can meet to talk about why some of those invoices aren't moving through as properly, so we can compensate you or reimburse you in that manner, I'm fine with doing that.
Well, that's up to you. I would feel more comfortable in doing that.
And that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I quite frankly, I see two completely different issues that are totally unrelated. With this, I agree that there was, when Workforce was on its own, it had a process it went through, it got used to doing things a certain way and used to a certain language, et cetera, and then once it came into the county, obviously, abiding by, the rules of the controller's office and everything, and having the language work, the way it has to here in the county, which is a little different than when WED was on its own. I think that's been the stumbling block, and I agree, I was in that meeting, and it's really just a matter of having contracts sort of formulated in a way that, accomplishes what you want to accomplish and also meets the legal burden that the county has to make sure that we're dotting our i's and crossing our t's. I don't see a connection at all to these two positions. As you said, you have the funding. These are grant-funded positions. The increase, my question is going to be the increase for the grants manager. Is that just a cap increase, or is that the actual salary?
So the reason, and I'll tell you how we came up with this increase. The increased responsibilities that this former youth manager is going to be taking on were actually more than the increase that we could actually compensate them for. So we're looking at about $5,000. But we are very careful with increases when we give them to any staff member, because we have to ensure that we have them in our budget before we do so. So this was basically all that we could compensate that position for, and that's how we came up with the $5,000. Actually, it would have been more of an increase based on all of the responsibilities that we've now put into this grant manager's position, but this was all that we felt comfortable that we could carry until we see, we're flat right now with our funding. So until we see maybe what next year brings, this was the best that we could do.
Okay. Any other questions? And also for 1112, you're going from hourly to salary, and the $25.01 an hour equates to $52,021, right? Yeah, okay, so it's not an increase, yeah. Okay. Other questions? All right, is there a motion regarding items 9, 10, 11, 12?
Motion to approve 9, 10, 11, and 12.
Can we separate them?
Well, there's a motion made. Is there a second on approving 9, 10, 11, 12? I'll second. 9, 10, 11, 12. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
No.
No.
Opposed.
Is there another motion then?
I will make a motion to approve items 11 and 12 and a motion to table 9 and 10 so that we can have additional time to work
They
out.
have to be I think they have to be separated, but, so you want to do the 11, 12 first? Is
Yes, I will make a motion to approve 11 and 12.
there a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so motion to table 9 and 10.
Yes.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 No.
Okay. All right, so we'll
Thank
come
you.
back. Thank you. All right. Judge Bateman?
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Commissioner, we have primarily two requests this morning. We want to change the classification of our court clerks and tip staff. And if I could, I'll give you some background. We have right now 15 court clerks and one full-time, one per diem. We have been seeking additional court clerks, but have found that people want to work full-time in that position. We have 15 judges, as you know, 3 senior judges and visiting judges. So if anybody's out sick or on vacation, that leaves us with limited staff to support the court's operations. We have tip staff positions that are unfilled right now as well. What I'd like to do is convert 2 per diem court clerk positions to 2 full-time court clerk positions. And I'd like to convert 2 full-time tip staff positions to 2 per diem tip staff positions. I recognize that that may result in a slight increase in compensation, but in order to meet the operational needs of the court, I don't see any other way around it. I don't want to just hire people, have them quit after a few weeks or a few months because they're not happy in the job or not happy with the compensation. And we found that that's what's happening with the court clerks. So that would be my first request. I assume we'll break them down. I have another request that follows that. I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
All right, we'll take 1 through 8. Any comments or questions on 1 through 8?
No.
Okay, if not, is there a motion for 1 through 8? I'm sorry. Yes.
Clarify something. Could we please take the PD that's currently listed on here on the union column and move that over to put the dash PD next to the titles? I think that the union column should just, for tip staff,
Oh, I see.
just read 05 like it does for court clerk, but then next to tip staff, if it could please say dash PD.
I got you.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, everybody understand the correction that needs to be made?
No, can I just add, is she talking about under the job title, Ms. Smith? Okay,
Right, so it's, yeah, it was coded incorrectly.
okay.
Okay, thank you for that, appreciate it.
Commissioner, with that amendment, I would make a motion that we convert the 2 court clerk positions that are per diem to full-time positions, and that we convert the 2 per diem or full-time tip staff positions to per diem positions.
Second?
Okay, motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Thank you. The second request we have is to create a new position, a bail review officer. And I note that the district attorney, the public defender, and the director of corrections are all here. And I think we can all agree that we've done everything we can to help manage the population at the prison, get people out who don't belong there, get people into treatment who deserve and need the treatment. However, there's always room for improvement, and we believe that having a bail review officer might help expedite some of those issues that we're having. And so that would be, we're proposing a new position. I'm sure there's going to be some questions on that, but I think it would be perhaps anywhere from 2 to 4 days a week. We would need that person to assist in accumulating information directly from the Department of Corrections, communicating with the district attorney, the public defender, or private counsel, and then getting the appropriate recommendation to the court so that we can make ourselves available and have the information available more readily, if that makes sense.
okay,
Right now, we do bail hearings on Tuesdays and Fridays. The new bail, and there are reasons for that. There's statutory reasons. The district attorney needs time to look into matters. The public defender or defense counsel needs time to accumulate information and put it in the form of a petition. We believe with this new system, we'll be able to shortcut a lot of that and get those matters right to the court, and we'll have a judge available every day to review those matters submitted by the bail review officer.
All right, comments or questions regarding item number 9?
I have a couple questions, or just.
Is your mic on?
I knew I wasn't going to get out of here that easily.
I'm supportive of this position. There's just a couple things I wanted to clarify. First of all, it would be my expectation that it's 5 days a week. I don't know how many hours, but I don't want the person to not be available if there's a reason on any day. But I think you're growing this position, so I don't know how this will work out. You may find out, yes, I would also suggest this person, there could be something that would happen on an evening or a weekend, and if it works out that you can add that in, I don't know that it will.
I'd be happy for that, because usually the director calls me on my cell phone at all hours of the day or night and says,
make
can I
sure-
get a verbal order? I've talked to everybody.
Make sure that this person has the
I don't know
director's
that, I
number.
don't know that Director Kratz actually sleeps, because he seems to call me, whenever there's a problem, and I'm happy to take that call, but
Hence, I want this person available all the time, right?
sure.
So just as
We
you're,
we could work that into the job description.
and because I think that as you're working this, would like to suggest that we adopt this as a pilot program or a 6-month thing, and then let's come back and see where it needs to be tweaked and whether it should be permanent.
That's fine. We don't have a problem with that. We're confident that we'll be able to assist, as I said, getting people out of the institution and into programs more quickly, and we're confident we'll be able to get people out of the institution on bail a little faster. Now, we are aware, I'm sure the district attorney and the public defender and I are all aware, as is the director, that there's a new Bail Reform Act that goes into effect, I believe, the end of the year. And that will have some impact on this. We're going to address that as well. The victims have to be notified in cases, and I think by the clerk of courts, so we have to work on that. But we're all confident we can make this happen.
Thanks.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? All right, so is it fair to say this will be a position that goes from September 1st to March 1st?
That's fine.
Okay.
That'd be fine. And I know we have the compensation issue. We'd like to pay this person, consistent with what we pay our other master, the juvenile hearing officer. And we'll have to calculate at some point how many days per week that'll be required. They'll be available, but just like the hearing officer is, but he's not in every day, but he is available every day. So we'll have to work on that. I don't know how you'd like me to phrase that. We can pay him the same, or we can come up with a different calculation if you prefer. I think it'd be easier to start out at the same rate and the hold hearings, or they wouldn't necessarily have to hold a hearing.
Right.
They'd have to be available, but it would be less time, but every day.
Yeah, I don't know if that level of detail is something we approve as a salary board. I think once you have a salary, how you get to that point, I think is I think probably within your discretion. It's my guess anyway. I see a couple of heads nodding, but so I guess I'm right. I don't know.
Well, until you vote, you're always right.
The DA is saying yes, which worries me a little bit, but okay. So,
Can you hold Dave?
the effective date would be September 1st?
And it would be a pilot program, and then depending upon how it goes, the first 3 or 4 months, we would come back and
Yeah.
revisit making it full permanent.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Makes sense.
All right. Appreciate it. No other comments or questions? Is there a motion to approve number 9 as discussed and amended?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to see everybody again.
Yep. Okay. We'll go to the district attorney.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Mr. Chairman, I have, looks like I have 5 matters before the board, and they are all either budget neutral or I don't know, but I'm not used to saying this, I guess budget positive in that there would be reductions in our budget. So the first one that I would ask for your consideration, number one, is that I have a Deputy District Attorney 3 position currently on my manning table. I think I have a couple, but in this instance, I'm going to make a motion to eliminate this position from the manning table. And this is in conjunction with some other moving parts that you have all been cooperative in allowing me to undertake to essentially try to raise up some of my starting salaries, but I've brought some new positions to the table through my opioid litigation. The only thing that I would ask that is a little different than what you see reflected on the chart here is that the effective date, I want to actually move it up to August the 16th as opposed to August 27th. I don't know that it makes a tremendous difference, but I was told to ask for that by my staff. So I would at this point make a motion, I can't believe I'm saying this, but make a motion to eliminate the Deputy District Attorney 3 position, this single Deputy District Attorney 3 position from my manning table effective August the 16th of 2022.
Second.
Okay. Comments or questions? No? Just before we do, any concerns with the changing the effective date from HR or Finance? No? Okay. Thank you. All right. Motion made and seconded for number 1, effective date 8/16, 2022. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
All right, thank you. The next two, I think we can do in conjunction with each other. They're items 2 and 3. This is really just a position, title, and description change to bring there is actually a person that fills this position currently, and it would be my intention to keep this position as per the new title and description in perpetuity, because this is really what this person's role is and how they serve the county. But in short, I would move to change this position 5498 from an administrative coordinator to an assistant finance manager position. That's my motion.
Okay. Comments or questions? All right. There's a motion. Is there a second? Okay. Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
And the last two of my items are also in conjunction with each other. If you all will recall, you all gave me the grace, this is a while back, but within probably the last year or so, to have 2 deputy chief positions. And that's because of some movement within my organization and due to a retirement that is now no longer necessary. I'm able to go back to the normal pyramid in management, in leadership and management. So, and I do have union approval for what I'm about to ask for. But the essence is to change this position 3836 from a deputy chief county detective down to a detective lieutenant. You'll notice that there is a decrease in the overall pay. We do have somebody slotted for this position, but not for a second deputy chief, but only for a detective lieutenant. And the only other thing that I would ask, and I would really, really appreciate if we could make the effective date August the 4th as opposed to August the 27th. But once again, this is a downgrade in the position. So that's my motion.
Okay. Any concerns about the August 4th start date, HR? No? Okay. Comments or questions? No? Okay. Is there a motion?
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. McPhillips?
Good morning, members of the Salary Board. As you may recall, at the last meeting, I motioned to table my agenda items is because I was waiting for input from the unions. Since that time, I did receive input from the union, and they're okay with my agenda items. So now I'd like to move forward My first agenda item is to simply delete the position of fiscal manager. And the second agenda item is a job title name change from coordinator, fiscal, and communications to simply fiscal coordinator, with no change in wages.
Okay. Any comments or questions?
I'm sort of curious why you changed it, like, doesn't matter, but you don't, why did you take communications off?
Excuse me?
Why did you take communications off? Why do you want to do that?
Because they were assigned to another employee.
Okay, so there's somebody else is doing the
Correct.
communications, okay.
Did you make a motion?
No, I didn't. I
Oh,
can.
okay.
Sure, go
Treat
ahead.
them as two motions or all one?
I think you can do them both together. I don't see any reason, or, yeah, do them as one thing. Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to delete the position of fiscal manager, as well as change the name of the division from coordinator, fiscal and communications, to fiscal coordinator.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's go to public defender.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
I'm here to request the addition of a assistant public defender. The District Attorney's Office in Bucks County has created two great programs, the District Court Drug Program and DCDP Probation. The goal of both of these programs is to connect people to treatment earlier, people suffering from drug addictions. They're usually people, it's the first time they're interfacing with the criminal justice system. It's saving lives. It's making our community stronger. And some of the clients that successfully complete these programs get the added benefit of not only being clean, they don't have a criminal record. So the very laudable goal of the District Attorney's Office is to expand this program, hopefully beyond the reaches of, or to extend it beyond just Bucks County residents. And that would be a great thing. And we're definitely on board with helping with that. But when you're expanding a program and you're giving additional services, you need more personnel. Right now, we participate in both of these programs. With the DCDP program, we participate at the beginning. We interview people, we get them into the program, we're there when they enter the program. But we don't have enough personnel to be there if there's violations or for the reviews. For the DCDP probation, there's a lot of paperwork associated with that because the people have to actually plead guilty. There's colloquies, there's a lot of work that needs to be done with that. It would help us greatly if we could have an additional staff member to help with these programs. The funding would come from the settlement, the opioid settlement that was obtained by the District Attorney's Office, and having this additional person would also help us with additional responsibilities that we're going to have at the last quarter and the beginning of the year in the form of the DUI Central Court as well as the individual calendar. It would help us to have this additional person. So I request, that's what I'm requesting. I also have a request that is not a salary board issue, but I do have a part-time secretary that is on the manning table. It's not funded full-time, but she's a part-time secretary, and I would request that the commissioners, the Board of Commissioners, approve this position to be funded as a full-time position so that she could support this new attorney and the additional paperwork and duties that are surrounding having these additional responsibilities. But I just wanted to mention that. I don't know if that's the appropriate thing to do here, but we would be requesting that as well. Also asking that this money come out of the opioid settlement. Does anybody have any questions?
Comments or questions?
I mean, are you proposing that? Because I don't see it, am I not seeing it on?
Yeah. Because it
I
would,
put it in, I put the secretarial piece in as a salary board action, but I was told after I did that because it's currently on the manning table as a full-time position, and it's on the manning table as a full-time position already, but it's only funded as a part-time, that's an issue just for the commissioners, and it's not a salary board. It's not a salary board issue.
all right,
you're just asking
yeah,
for
bring this to our attention. Okay, I
I just
appreciate
wanted
it.
to bring it to your attention
Yeah,
that I
thank
would be
you.
requesting that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it, well, obviously not, two different issues slightly, but, certainly the district attorney is getting some funding for his staff and attorney and support staff. It does make sense to sort of balance that out, I think, anyway, but we can deal with that in a second. Any questions on number 8?
None.
All right, is there a motion then to approve number 8 for the public defender?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. HR?
Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, Controller.
Morning.
I'm here today to request a change with one of our senior HR generalist positions to make that an HR manager. Human Resources in the past had 2 HR managers. When one of them left 2 years ago in June of 2020, we restructured and we changed the position to senior HR generalist, leaving one HR manager position remaining. And we were able to function that way for 2 years under that model, and it saved money. But it did put more stress at the top, quite honestly, put more stress on me. The way we're currently structured, I realized that it would be very helpful to have another lead in the department, someone to make decisions if I'm tied up and the assistant director is tied up, as often happens with 18 collective bargaining agreements that need to be negotiated. I also think it would be better for succession planning. So I am asking for that position to change. I also just wanted to point out that we also saved money in our department by downgrading the benefits manager to benefits administrator last February. So right now, it's just a little bit of a struggle. We have 3 senior generalists and we have 1 HR manager. And if you approve this change for us, then it will improve our ability to better manage the grievance process, and it'll allow us to be more proactive with training and development rather than reactive.
All right, comments or questions for Ms. Smith?
I have a question. It's my understanding that basically you're essentially giving a promotion and a raise to someone who's out on leave. Is that accurate?
Yes, that is why I have October 22nd as the effective date. You are correct, because the incumbent in this position is on a leave right now.
Okay. And my other question was, it seems a little top-heavy, the HR department. So we have, obviously, you as the director, an assistant director, so you two are at the top of the, proposed organizational chart. And then you're looking to have 3 managers, essentially, the benefits administrator and 2 HR managers overseeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people.
I'm sorry, the benefits would not be a manager because the benefits was downgraded to administrator.
Okay, gotcha, okay. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 people managing essentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people and an intern. Just seems top-heavy to me. A lot of managers managing very few people in that department.
They serve as leads. They're experienced business partners, and it would be helpful for the rest of the staff, all of the generalists, the coordinator, and the senior generalists to be able to go to the HR managers. Like I said, if I'm not available or the assistant director is not available, as we're often in negotiations, it would be helpful to know that the team had 2 options to go to people to lead them and answer questions and bounce ideas off of, rather than having to wait until the end of the day for us to get back to them.
Okay. So the one HR manager isn't enough to manage those 7 people if you and the assistant director are out?
We've gotten by, but like I said, I feel like we've become more reactive than proactive with training. I have some ideas that I'd like to do that we've never had time to do. It's kind of been on the back burner. We do training when there are problems that are brought to our attention and we need to help one of the divisions that we support. We haven't really been able to do a lot with that. And if I had 2 managers, one of them would focus on labor relations and resolving grievances, allowing the other one to really get ahead of it with training.
Any other questions? Okay. All right, so is there a motion then to approve items 6, 7 for the human resources?
So moved.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
Okay, Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Board of Voter Registration?
Good morning. My name's Tom Freitag. I'm the director of the Board of Elections. First of all, I want to thank you for letting me do this remotely. I'm actually in Western PA right now at a election officials conference. What we have proposed is 3 salary board actions. One would be eliminating a position to free up funds that we have. The position's currently vacant. It's been vacant since January of this year. And then to be able to raise the salary cap on 2 positions in the office. The proposed to eliminate the executive assistant. This has again been vacant since January. It was capped at $52,000 and currently budgeted for $44,000 for the year. The position was created in 2020 to assist myself and the assistant director with all the changing laws and everything going on with elections during 2020. We can kind of reabsorb these duties at this point. We've been doing it for the past 8 months, and then we would like to use some of this money to increase the salary of our non-union employees and increase the caps on the assistant director and the assistant election coordinator. Expansive reform when it comes to voting in the last few years. Been the most expansive changes to election law in Pennsylvania in 80 years. Act 77, Act 12. We just had Act 88 pass a few weeks ago. The position of the assistant election coordinator was also made in 2020. This was made to help mitigate the additional work that mail-in voting had put onto the election coordinator. As many of these laws were brand new, we didn't know the degree of how much Act 77 would affect our office and what would really be needed by the position. While the position was initially created as more of just an assistant, it's really grown into a lot more responsibility that the assistant election coordinator takes on. They help on things with campaign finance, petition filing, identifying what offices are on the ballot, counting write-ins, training ballot clerks, ballot box clerks, certifying the election. When we created the position, it was capped at a lower rate, basically because we did not know what the nature of the job was going to be and how much it was going to entail. With the amount of mail-in voting that we have now, we've seen anywhere from 30 to 50% of voters voting by mail, and it's just a much increased responsibility. So we would like to propose to raise the cap. It's a hourly rate from currently it's capped at $25.01 an hour. But we would like to propose to cap it at $28.21 an hour. We wouldn't necessarily be starting at that rate, but we would like to put it a little higher so we don't need to come back to salary board for another adjustment. And then the assistant director position has also had increased responsibility over the last 2 years as the laws have changed. The assistant director does the annual and monthly budget for the department. Our budget has ballooned as we've needed to get new voting equipment and have to figure out all of the grants and everything like that, which we also apply for, which the assistant director is in charge of the grant opportunities and making sure that we document all of our expenses to make sure that the county gets reimbursed. Through these grants, we've been able to purchase much needed equipment, such as like high-speed sorting equipment, electronic poll books, and most recently, Act 88 has allowed us to apply for $2.4 million from the DCED, Department of Community and Economic Development, that is also going to cover one of the things that covers is costs and duties related to VR processing and staffing for canvassing. So a lot of our budget is going to be able to be covered by this grant. We currently, for all of our annual budget for the department for salaries is at $749,000, and to date we've only used $385,000. So we're 8 months into the year. So we do have money available in the office for funding. The assistant director handles staffing the polls. We have 304 precincts. About roughly 1,800 poll workers that they staff and make sure that the polling places are staffed on election day. With the election now split into mail-in voting and in-person voting, a lot of my time on election day is supervising the mail-in processing, the pre-canvassing, the canvassing. So the assistant director's taken on a greater role on election day itself, responding to any issues that are happening at the polls. It is a salary position and has long hours are necessary that far exceed a normal 40-hour work week at times. There were times in the past 2 years where we were working 70-hour weeks. And the salary is capped currently at $68,400. And we're proposing a cap of $80,000. And again, we wouldn't put this to the max. We would leave room for growth. In addition to all of this, election officials in general have just been facing an increasing amount of threats. These range from harassing phone calls, emails, and most recently, the county received a letter that had a foreign substance in it that we didn't know what it was, and the proposed salary adjustments just take this into account. And we've talked to other counties of our size to compare what we were looking at for these changes. So I would propose to make a motion to delete the executive assistant and to raise these salary caps for the assistant director and the assistant election coordinator.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, Mr. Freitag? Ms. Humphries here as well, if we have a bad connection and she needs to answer anything? No? Okay. All right, is there a motion then for numbers 1 through 5 for the Board of Voter Registration?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Freitag.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
All right, so all the business items we have. Any other matters come before the board? Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.